Antarctica is the most isolated continent on Earth, almost entirely covered by ice. It contains some of the coldest and least explored places on the planet. But the Antarctica we see from the surface isn't the continent itself. It's only the ice covering it. In some places, that ice is more than 4 kilometers thick, and beneath it is another world, mountain ranges, deep valleys, ancient landscapes, and hundreds of lakes hidden beneath the ice. Modern radar technology has allowed scientists to map parts of this buried continent without ever physically reaching them. Most discoveries have geological explanations, but according to a controversial story surrounding a 2018 Antarctic survey, one discovery was different. Approximately 3.2 kilometers beneath the ice of East Antarctica, researchers reportedly detected something unusual. It didn't look like a mountain. It didn't look like a canyon. It had straight lines, right angles, repeated geometric patterns, and at its center, something resembling a massive circular structure. What became known online as Anomaly 27 was about to become the center of a much stranger story, because according to the documents associated with the claim, 2018 wasn't the first time someone had detected it. The technology supposedly responsible for the discovery is ice-penetrating radar. Aircraft transmit radio waves through the ice and analyze the signals reflected back from the landscape below. This is real technology. It has revealed mountain systems, enormous subglacial lakes, and ancient terrain buried beneath Antarctica. So, finding something underneath the ice isn't unusual, but the alleged 2018 radar returns were different. Several long features appeared almost parallel. Some intersected at angles unusually close to 90 degrees. Between them were smaller rectangular areas, and near the center was a roughly circular feature approximately 300 meters across. The aircraft reportedly passed over the region again. The pattern remained. The equipment was checked. The pattern remained. According to one alleged internal note, the observed geometry is difficult to reconcile with known geological processes. Nobody called it a city, nobody called it artificial. But looking at the processed reconstruction, it was difficult not to see a complex. And then researchers reportedly discovered something else: heat. Part of the area beneath the ice appeared warmer than expected. That isn't automatically mysterious. Antarctica has geothermal activity beneath portions of the continent, but the temperature anomaly appeared close to the geometric radar returns. The coincidence was enough to justify a closer look. In 2019, according to the story, a drilling operation was positioned above part of the anomaly. The objective wasn't to reach the structure itself. Researchers wanted measurements from deeper within the ice. For days, everything proceeded normally. Then, at approximately 2,900 meters, one sensor began producing irregular readings. Communication with part of the equipment suddenly stopped. Equipment failures at that depth aren't extraordinary, but before the signal disappeared completely, the system allegedly transmitted something 17 seconds of data. A repeating low-frequency pattern, 3 pulses, a pause, 3 pulses, another pause, then again. Engineers reportedly suspected a mechanical malfunction, but according to the alleged notes, the frequency didn't correspond to the normal operating cycle of the equipment. The signal disappeared. The instrument never returned to normal operation, and the drilling attempt was terminated. Then something else happened. Several weeks later, researchers reportedly attempted to access the original survey material. Some of the high-resolution process radar files were no longer available through the database they had previously used. There are completely ordinary reasons scientific data can disappear or become temporarily inaccessible. Files are updated, databases change, permissions expire. But the timing was enough to fuel speculation. First, the geometry, then the heat, then the signal, then inaccessible data, and shortly afterward, an older document began circulating. The document was supposedly connected to an American Antarctic operation from the late 1960s. Its authenticity has never been independently established. Most of it appeared ordinary. Coordinates, flight paths, weather information, technical notes. But one page contained a map. A location had been circled. Beside it were 2 words, Anomaly 27. The coordinates were reportedly close to the area surveyed in 2018, but next to them was something even stranger. A crude drawing, several straight lines, a larger boundary, and near the center, a circle. If the document was genuine, someone had apparently noticed something unusual in the same region approximately 50 years earlier. If it was fake, someone had created an extremely convincing foundation for a conspiracy theory. Either way, the question changed. What if the 2018 researchers hadn't discovered anything new? What if they had simply found it again? Antarctica has attracted conspiracy theories for decades. Secret installations, unknown aircraft, hidden entrances beneath the ice, loss of civilizations. Most of these claims have little or no credible evidence behind them. But Antarctica creates the perfect environment for speculation. The continent is enormous. Most people will never visit it. Huge areas are rarely seen directly, and kilometers of ice prevent us from simply looking at what lies underneath. There is also one scientific fact that makes the story especially intriguing. Antarctica wasn't always the frozen world we see today. Far back in geological history, the continent experienced dramatically warmer conditions. Ancient vegetation grew there. Rivers crossed parts of the landscape. Entire environments now lie buried beneath the ice. But there is no credible evidence that an advanced human civilization existed there. And that's precisely why the alleged geometry of Anomaly 27 became so controversial. If it wasn't natural, what was it? The simplest explanation is geology. Radar signals traveling through kilometers of ice can produce complicated reflections. Rock formations, fractures, and buried valleys can create patterns that appear surprisingly organized after processing. Humans are also extremely good at seeing artificial patterns in natural formations. The straight lines could be geological. The circular feature could be natural. The heat could be geothermal. The drilling failure could have been mechanical. The missing files could have been administrative. And the 1960s document could simply be fake. It's an explanation that requires nothing extraordinary. But another theory suggests the radar detected something equally fascinating: an ancient landscape preserved beneath the ice. Old valleys and drainage systems can create surprisingly geometric patterns when reconstructed digitally. In that case, Anomaly 27 could be real, without being artificial. But the third theory is the one that turned the story into a conspiracy. Some believe the geometry was built. If something artificial really exists 3 kilometers beneath Antarctic ice, there are 2 possibilities. Either someone constructed it beneath the ice, which would be an extraordinary engineering operation, or it existed before the ice covered it. The second possibility is far more disturbing, because then it wasn't built beneath Antarctica. It was buried by Antarctica. And depending on how long that region has been covered, the implications would be enormous. There's currently no archaeological evidence supporting the existence of an ancient advanced civilization in Antarctica. But believers in the conspiracy ask a different question. If researchers discovered something that contradicted everything we currently understand about human history, would the discovery immediately become public? Or would the site be restricted until someone understood what they were looking at? There is no evidence that such a cover-up occurred. But then came one final claim. In 2024, newer radar data was allegedly compared with the original reconstruction. The central circular feature was reportedly still visible. Several geometric returns remained, but one didn't match. A long linear feature visible in the earlier survey appeared to have shifted, approximately 80 meters. There are obvious explanations. Antarctic ice moves. Radar surveys taken years apart can differ. Flight paths change. Processing methods change. Resolution changes. There is no reason to conclude that anything beneath the ice physically moved. But if you accept the conspiracy theory, the implication is much stranger, because ruins don't move. Buried cities don't move. Geological formations don't simply relocate 80 meters. So if the reading really changed, what exactly were they looking at? There is no verified scientific publication confirming an artificial complex beneath East Antarctica. There is no authenticated government document publicly confirming Anomaly 27. There is no verified recording proving that a mysterious signal originated 3 kilometers beneath the ice. And there is no archaeological evidence of an advanced Antarctic civilization. But the real science beneath Antarctica is almost strange enough on its own. We know enormous landscapes exist beneath the ice. We know there are hidden lakes, buried valleys, mountain ranges, ancient terrain that no human being has ever directly explored. So maybe Anomaly 27 never existed. Maybe someone combined real Antarctic science with fabricated documents and created the perfect conspiracy theory. Maybe the geometry is simply rock. Maybe the circular structure is an artifact of radar processing. Maybe the 17-second signal never happened. Or maybe there really is an unusual radar anomaly beneath East Antarctica, and everything that came afterward is where fact became legend. But there is one uncomfortable truth beneath all of it. We genuinely don't know everything that's down there. There are kilometers of ice between us and an entire hidden continental landscape, which leaves one final question. Not what are they hiding beneath Antarctica, but how much could be hidden beneath Antarctica without any of us ever knowing it was there? And if one day our instruments detect something that truly shouldn't exist, will we ever be allowed to get close enough to find out what it is? Subscribe to my channel for more mystery cases. See you in the next video.